Hello dear singers! In this video we will talk about something that a lot of singers have struggled with at some point in their vocal progress, and it refers to you losing your breath while you are singing. So what's happening? There are a lot of reasons for this, but the reason behind it is the fact that you are singing in an environment that's not ideal for singing. For example, clubs where you have annoying air conditioning or smoking cigarettes is allowed. Maybe you are dancing, you have choreographies while you are singing, or maybe it's a lack of a good vocal technique. But the main question is this: what can be done? What can you do to reduce this problem and stop running out of breath when you need it? Now, when it comes to the issues that are outside of your control, we can talk about it at the end of this video. I will give you tips on that, the tips that I use when I perform. But firstly, we need to talk about your vocal technique, just to check if everything is okay in that department, and then we can proceed with other tips. When you feel that you are losing your breath quickly, that you are running out of the air too fast when you sing, it usually revolves around breath support that is not good enough. You might be taking that high breath that we have talked about in our videos on breathing techniques and diaphragm, and you do not utilize all of that additional space and the strength that you have in your lower abdominal part. Simply, you do not use that breathing from your diaphragm in a way that it can serve you completely and efficiently. While we're at breath support, we should mention a related issue of breathiness, poor vocal fold compression. Now, I'm not talking about falsetto here. I'm talking about letting the air flow through your vocal folds by being breathy and not controlling the release of that air. Some people actually talk like this. Now, this is not the same thing as falsetto. So you must be in a good shape when it comes to the vocal fold compression. You must control when you want to sound breathy. If you like to use it, that's okay. But you must have the ability to talk and sing with a clear sound also. Another vocal technique problem that you might have can be the position of your larynx. We have talked about it in our vocal resonance series. We've talked about having your larynx positioned high, low, or neutral. Well, when your larynx is positioned low, if you remember, it sounds like this. And naturally, you will lose more air. You will lose it faster because you will, by positioning your larynx too low, you will create more space for your air to flow quickly. The space that you don't have the ability to control. So low larynx can be the issue also. So to summarize, you should work on maintaining a good breath support. You should practice controlling the vocal fold compression, and you should work on controlling the position of your larynx. You have the exercises for all of that here in this course, so you're all set. You just need to practice. The hardest but also the sweetest and the most enjoyable part is up to you. Now, we should talk about the conditions that are outside of your control, that are responsible for the shortness of your breath. So I will share with you my experience, and hopefully it will help you. I have experience with singing in all of the situations and conditions that you can imagine, from performing in large audience halls to singing in the clubs with bands or singing acoustics in bars. And there are differences, of course, but I think that in clubs or bars, or generally speaking, in those places where the audience is engaged, you can cover up a lot of mistakes, especially when it comes to breathing. Whether it's the air conditioning or a loud smoking situation or singing equipment that you use that starts to have issues while you're performing, your microphone, for example, nevertheless, there are ways to hide your shortcomings when it comes to breathing. So the first thing that I would advise you to do is to change your mindset and relax. Those are the things that are not under your control, so just chill, I had to sing for 10 years, being anxious to sing every note the right way, until I started to include choreographies in my performances. And then I saw that people just want to be entertained, engaged, and happy while they are listening to the music, more that they would like to judge you when you make the mistakes. So have that in mind. People want to be included in that musical experience. Whether you sing perfectly without a single mistake or you forget the lyrics, that actually happened to me also. So if you're performing and you feel that you get tired and that it is hard to have a good breath support for the phrase or a challenging note that's coming up, try to take a breath calmly and fully. If you do not succeed to do that, you have few choices. Either you distract audience with some cool move, or just make it like you're planning not to sing it. Or you can include the audience and tell them something, like ask them something, comment on the lyrics, whatever. Or if you're not comfortable with doing that kind of improvisation, just slightly, when you feel that your breath is running out, just slightly pull the microphone away from you and lip sync the end of the phrase. For example, lost someone way that I love you. Fake it till you make it. In conclusion, you don't have to stress yourself out over this. There is a solution for every singing problem. Just chill and inform yourself. Shortness of breath can absolutely be conquered. You just need to locate and find out what the problem is. You can always improve your breathing technique with practice. Be determined and never give up on your vocal progress.